Okay, hey everyone, we're back again. We are here for a segment we call Mission Impact because it's all about making sure that you're serving the community the way that you need to serve them and that you are impacting them in a positive way. And of course, not negatively impacting your own organization, right? This is the second part in the series called Capacity Building, right? Because we need to know how to build to capacity so that we can be successful. There's a process to it. When you miss steps along the way, it actually impacts your organization negatively. And so today we're talking about, like I said, how to build to capacity. How to show capacity. So yes, you can show capacity, and we're going to get into that today. My name is Tracy Allen. I'm the owner of TBA Consulting. I am an impact strategist, a social enterprise consultant, a small business funding strategist, and I have about 20 plus years in this industry. I like saying that because then we all go ahead and say the same thing, and then it adds up to over 60 plus years.
We're almost at retirement age, y'all, together.
I am Daphne Swinson. I am the owner of On Good Ground Strategic Solutions, where I serve as the social, SOUCHIAL, strategist, nonprofit consultant, and philanthropic advisor.
All right, I am Ty Boone. I'm owner of Ty Boone Enterprises. I am a nonprofit success strategist and a program development strategist out here in the streets with Daphne and Tracy, trying to make it right for everybody, y'all. We're going to get this right. We're getting these nonprofits and social enterprises together. And I think capacity building is ground level.
Yes.
Ground zero, ground level work that everybody usually forgets about. Because what happens when we start our businesses, what happens when we start our nonprofits is that we're thinking that we're ready to go to work. We're like, okay, let's go sell something. Let's go do something. Let's just get busy doing something, right? Nobody thinks about, hey, let's create the foundation. Tracy, you talked about foundation last week. Let's create the foundation and to see how much can we handle right now and how should we move to the next thing. And we talk a lot about strategic planning and all that kind of stuff. You know, those are the little maps that we use to get things moving. What I've found with a lot of nonprofits is that we'll do strategic planning. We'll create funding plans. We'll create business plans. And then they just sit on the desk like this right here. And nobody looks at them again. Nobody knows anything. Then folks start coming to us, you know, especially in nonprofits going, well, Ty, when you're a new nonprofit, when can I start making a salary? And I go, well, what does your plan say about it? Like, we have something in plan to say, okay, at this point in time, when we've done X, Y, and Z, now we can start working toward creating salaries. Oh, we didn't know anything about that. We're just trying to create the budget and see how we can get it set. How are you gonna make that happen? Like, are you looking at the plan? Because we wrote them for you. But we wrote them for you. Are you following them? Are you starting to implement? And once you start to implement, implementation gives you what you need to show it. When we started, you're talking about, how do you show, capacity? If you are implementing, you're going to create certain results, right? Certain things are going to happen. So if salary is the thing and you're trying to have staff and you want to pay your staff or whatever, once you start implementing the steps necessary to attract maybe unrestricted revenue, or you're doing things in your organizations where you're drawing new support and you can start attracting different levels of funding, you're putting forth certain kinds of work, you have your job descriptions and you know what it is you're going to be doing, you're building along the way. Now you're in a position to get staff, right? And you know that this is something that they should be paying for because they're doing work. And when you're doing work, money is going to come because you're doing something to get paid for. A lot of us want to be paid when doing the work. Like, okay, you have to get paid for. But you start implementing the program, you start doing the work. Now you're able to show results. You show that you are worthy. And I'm talking about when I'm talking here, I'm talking about these founder ED, these kind of grassroots, people. Not something that you inherited. Sometimes you can go into a nonprofit or you go into a business, it's already there. So the weight has already been made for you. The reason that they invited you on to staff is because they have capacity to hire staff. But when you're from the ground, now just said that capacity is ground up. When you're on the ground, that may not be the thing. You have to work your way to it. So you have to create the bridge to capacity by doing the work and producing results. And now because of your results, you're worthy of funding. And that's how you move to your next level of business. Y'all go ahead. Y'all, maybe I'll talk all day. I'm not gonna talk all day. I'm talking to myself, but I'm not gonna talk all day. Y'all go ahead.
So capacity for founders. I think sometimes, when you begin to build yourself, begin to build your portfolio as a nonprofit founder and leader, what does that look like? So if when you started your nonprofit and you didn't know anything, what classes have you taken? The educational components. What certificates have you even just went and got yourself? Nonprofit management is a good component, not for you to say that you know everything, but it will give you the basics in each area, leadership, fundraising, nonprofit management, and capacity building as well. So just don't look at it as your you have to show for your organization as itself. You also have to show for yourself as a leader.
Yeah. When we're talking about showing capacity, I want to touch on two areas: in your business plan and your strategic plan. And I guess I could touch on fund development plan too, but let's start with the business plan. When you do your business plan, you have goals, objectives, and KPIs, right? So yesterday someone asked me, what's the difference between a goal and a KPI? What is a KPI, right? And so it's your key performance indicators. How you know that you have met your goals, right? So you have goals, you have objectives, and then you have your key performance indicators or your benchmarks, however you want to put it, right? That is your sign that you have met that particular goal. That is how you show your capacity. Have you met that goal? So you set the goal, you implemented strategies to actually achieve that goal, and then you have what should happen if that goal is met. If that goal is met, then you met the capacity for that specific goal. Now you need to know what happens next. So if you met that goal, then that should trigger some other type of action because you've met the capacity for that particular goal. So that is one way to show your capacity through your business planning. Because remember, a business plan is a live document. It's a fluid document. Water continuously moves. That business plan continuously moves with you as well. The same thing with your strategic plan. It is a live, fluid document. It's continuously moving. So these are good strategies for trying to build a capacity and then eventually showing your capacity, because you can show we set this goal to happen in 3 months and we met that objective, right? And then we were able to move on to the next level, whether that goal was to bring on new staff, right? So in order to bring on new staff, one of your goals has to be to build your capacity monetarily, right? So you may need $50,000 in order to bring on that staff. If you brought on that staff, you're showing me that you met your capacity, your goal, because you were able to hire this new person. I hope that kind of makes sense for you to understand how you're showing your capacities through the actions, the successes that you have for the goals that you actually set in your business. And that goes across the gamut of the plans that you have for your nonprofit. Because we like to joke and say in a nonprofit organization, and even in a business too. So it's not just nonprofits, it's social enterprises, it's businesses. If you're going to be successful, you always have a plan in place. You're always planning to plan. But along that way, you have to have evaluative measures. You have to have benchmarks. Those benchmarks are your signs of success. It's showing that you're getting to the capacity that you want to get to in order to move to the next level.
Yeah, I think
hope that was clear.
We get caught up in like busyness, busy work, that we forget about the evaluation components, and those things is what's speaking to capacity for us. So we're so far gone in the busy work that we leave capacity building behind. And then we also, get into spaces, I know in the nonprofit world, where we make it about us and we become so territorial in it, and we only operate in what we think our powers are, and we forget about the need to reach out for partnerships and do those things so that we could be, a bigger and better organizations. We don't do that. We're like, okay, well, I can't share my program because I think they're gonna steal something, or I can't let them know what system I'm using for this because they may copy it and do this. You want to be able to position yourself that you attract support from the outside, because that's also going to help you build capacity. And it's going to help you to fill in these pieces that you may be missing. Even your service pieces. I see nonprofits struggle so much because they want to do so much and they have big hearts and passion for things. I want to provide housing for the homeless, but I don't have housing, right? So how do you still, if one of your goals is to make sure that the rates of homelessness in your area is reduced by 15%, you can still meet that goal even without the house. How do you do that? Because the organization across town provides housing, or because I can partner with the hotel for emergency nights of stay, or whatever. And I still met my goal of reducing homelessness. So when I'm reporting and I'm telling people, I'm telling funders, hey, we can do this. We're worthy of support because we reduced homelessness in our area by 15%. This is how we did it. Now, our next level of best, the next level of capacity might be housing for us. We have shown you that we have met this milestone. We have been able to do this work in the absence of a home. So now to help us to get a home, we can do this even better. So now you're moving along your line of capacity, and you're fulfilling your strategic plan because you said by year whatever, we're going to have homes, and you can still do the work.
I'm so happy that you said that, because a lot of people, even in regular businesses, social enterprises, which is what I more focus on, but having worked with nonprofits, same thing across the board, doesn't matter, right? People think because they don't possess all of the tools necessary to carry out a specific goal, that the goal cannot be met. So they kind of like throw their hands up and they're like, oh, I can't do this because I don't have it. And I think the housing situation is one that I come across a lot all the time. So that is a really good analogy, because if I don't get every quarter at least 20 people asking me about getting a grant to buy a building, I don't get any inquiries at all. So the housing component is a huge deal, where a lot of people, they want to impact homelessness or trafficking, human trafficking, and they want a house to, house these people in, but because they don't have it, they figure they can't do anything. And they get very offended when you tell them, hey, go out and form community partnerships. There are other organizations out there who are doing what you're doing. Partner with them to really impact. Because you don't have a house doesn't mean that you don't do what you said your God-given mission was, right? Because that's usually what I'm told. This is, God put this on my heart. So if God put it on your heart, then why are you not doing what he has commanded you to do, right? Find a way. And putting people in housing cannot be the only program, the only service that you're going to be offering, because then you might as well just volunteer at a homeless shelter, right? Or volunteer with an organization that is already doing something. Because we talk about not wanting to duplicate services. You don't want to do exactly what someone else is doing. You want to come in, see what someone else is doing, and put a new and unique spin on what they're doing, an innovative solution to something that's already there, right? So you should have programs and services that differ from what other people are doing, that you can now join forces and do either on your own or do with another community partner. No, we have to stop thinking about that everybody wants to steal what we have. Like, that is such a self-centered attitude to have. And in this business of social enterprise and nonprofits, you're supposed to be a selfless person. Okay, so you can't constantly be thinking that there's someone out to get you. That's paranoia, right? You're supposed to be willing to work and share your resources to solve a problem. All of this, it may sound like we're going off track, but no, this is part of capacity building, Okay, so that's my 2 cents about that.
Well, yeah, as Tracy was saying, it is a part of capacity building. And I think sometimes that nonprofits, smaller nonprofits, forget that because they feel as though they are the Lone Ranger out here doing the only one doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have those duplications in services. And as she said, how can you further impact your community or fulfill your mission and building your capacity as by collaborating? You know, as she said, housing is one of the calls she gets. I get a call all the time about youth mentoring. That is the only, I ain't gonna say the only thing, but the 90% of what I get is youth mentoring and youth programs. And one of the things that they always talk about is a community center and transportation. You want to buy a bus, open the building. And I'm thinking to myself, there's 100 buildings out here and 1,000 buses. And so there's no way that they're, you know, that you need to encompass another one. Why is it that you don't partner with somebody who already has that? You know, you are building your capacity by partnering, and then you're also showing to funders as well as the community that you have the ability to work with other people in order to solve the problem. Because as the mission is, the goal is to solve the problem. It's not to get money.
Right. But that's because everybody wants to put their own stamp of ownership on everything. That's the problem. And we are about collaboration. Like you see 3 of us here, we are all in the consulting business, right? But we're able to work together. I mean, we are able to collaborate to provide our own missions. We have a mission to serve and make sure that nonprofit organizations and social enterprises and small businesses are doing what they need to do to build a capacity, to impact their missions. And we find that it's easier for us to do it together than for us to do it apart. We have a bigger impact because we are united. So
that's why we're mission impact, y'all. We're trying to be an example over here. Be an example. You are definitely stronger together. You can't do it by yourself. And like Daphne mentioned, funders and supporters, they like to see collaboration. They want to make sure that they get the biggest bang for their buck. They don't want to put all their money into your little organization. I don't want to dismiss your organization at all. But when they can recognize that you're doing work that goes beyond your space, that touches other organizations, and that's going to trickle over and spill over into other organizations, that's when you get the money. So it's not all about the money, but it's the work that goes into it. When they see partnerships and they see collaborations, they know, okay, this is something that's going to last. And I think we'll talk about sustainability at another time, but this is something that's going to be sustainable because it doesn't stop with you. And if it both starts and stops with you, there's a problem. It can start with you, but it shouldn't stop with you. If it stops with you, it doesn't make an impact.
I agree. That I like. It should not stop with you. If you fall, the whole thing should not fall apart because it should not be. It should not rest in your hands and your hands alone. You have to share the wealth. You know, think about, you get sick, you get COVID, whatever. Does that mean that the community is not served? That's ridiculous. So you have to think about that. All of that is capacity building. And I think we could get into another session about cross-training, something that a lot of organizations and companies don't like to do. They want to be the only person that can do X, Y job because they feel that it secures their position, but actually it hurts the organization, it hurts the company when you're the only person who can do something in the business. Yeah, and
that's a good one.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you and ladies, because I know some people get offended by guys. Thank you everyone who's watching for joining us for another episode of Mission Impact. Again, we'll be back next week, Wednesday, and we're going to be talking about what does funding have to do with it. All right, until next time. Bye.